Hey there nation, welcome to the show. We help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and it's time for another edition of Tales from the Underhive. This is Tales from the Underhive, Necromunda Battle Report number 18, and this is the very fourth battle report in our limited campaign series, It Came From the Sump. So in case you don't know what this campaign is about, this little mini campaign, basically what happens is that we rolled off on the scenarios table for our campaign to see exactly what would happen next for our gangs, and in this case, It Came From the Sump is a series of battle reports where a monster that came from the bottom of the Underhive, which is called the Sump, crawls out of the Underhive and starts going into the various territories of the different gangs. And it's going to make its rounds through each of the single gangs in our campaign, one by one, until either one of two things either happens. Either one, the gang drives the monster out of its territory, in which case it travels to another territory and causes more problems, or a gang finally gets to kill it in this case. It's gone up to 3 different gangs up to this point. It originally started off by attacking the Sleeping Dogs of House Delac, and then migrated over to 911 of House Van Sar. They drove it off and eventually went to the territories of the Pelago Slant Kings of House Goliath. They drove that creature off, and now it's into the brand new territories of the Killjoys. This is Lady Domina's House Escher gang, and they're going up against the Demogorgon now. Let's see if they can either kill this thing or drive it away as we talk about more of our battle reports in It Came From the Sump. Dun dun dun! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here is the roster for the Killjoys. It is a House Escher game that belongs to Lady Domina. As you can see, the gang rank is at 1,602 points. They recently lost a really significant battle against the Iron Sights, which is our House Orlok gang, and in that battle where they tried to do an ambush onto the Iron Sights, they failed miserably, unfortunately. So because of that, they lost one of their territories as well. So the 2 battles they've fought, they've won one against the House Goliath's Pelago Slant Kings, and they lost another one to the Iron Sights. So they're 1-1 right now for the record. As you can see, we got a pretty comprehensive list of characters. Go and talk about each one of them real quick. First of all, if we have Furia, she is a leader. She's armed with a bolt gun, a bolt pistol, as well as a chain sword. She's got the gang leader skill. Next, we have 2 heavies, which are Mad Donna, who's armed with a grenade launcher, equipped with frag grenades, as well as a last pistol, and Yoko the Pyro, who's armed with a flamer and a last pistol. Next, we have our gangers. We have One Shot Blonde. She's armed with a hunting rifle, who's got the rapid fire skill. Lucky Lucy's armed with a last gun, who's got the dodge skill. Silky Sorrow, who's armed with a last gun. Raven, who's armed with a bolt gun and sword, and Nocturna, who's armed with a last gun, sword, and frag grenades, and she has the sprint skill. Next, we have our 2 Jews. The first one is Trixie. She's got a last pistol, chain flow, and frag grenades. She's also got the dodge skill. Unfortunately for her, however, she got an infected wound, so she'll miss 3 games. This will be one of her games. She's only got 2 more left before she can come back into it again. And then finally, we have Mimi the Punk. She's armed with a last pistol as well as a sword. She's got a catfall skill and also has an arm wound as well. And then finally, this gang also has a scummer. His name is Red Cap Killer. He's armed with an auto pistol and plasma pistol. He's got the hip shooter, gunfighter, rapid skill, and quick draw abilities as well. So this guy's pretty tough. He's got 2 wounds, ballistic skill of 4, toughness of 4. This guy's a real killer in that case. So as you can see here, this is the entire gang roster. Let's go and talk about exactly what the scenario rules look like and exactly what the battlefield look like for this campaign. Alright people, welcome to the combat zone. As you can see, this is exactly the same kind of layout on our 4x4 table that we had for the other previous 3 battle reports in our It Came From the Sump campaign. The idea is that the battleground is exactly the same because each of the gangs have to try to do 1 of 2 things when it comes to this monster. Either one, drive it out of this particular territory so that way it doesn't lose another one of their territories, in which case the Killjoys definitely need to do that, otherwise they'll lose another additional territory and they'll only have 3 after that. Or they actually kill the monster. There's a couple of ways you can do that. First of all, the monster, let's start with the monster first of all. The Demogorgon in this case has all stats of 6, and every single time it takes a wound to put up against it, each one of his stats drop down by a point all the way down to 1. So that way if it suffers 6 wounds, all of his stats would be reduced to 1 at that point. However, even if you manage to drop this creature down 7 wounds and finally kill it that way, you can't kill the monster. There's only 1 of 2 ways you can either get rid of this monster in this scenario. Either option 1, you drive it off the table edge, or option 2, you drive it to the chemical pit, which is able to create a little crater terrain piece within the middle of the board, in which case if it lands inside the chemical pit, it dies because it gets dissolved to death by the corrosive materials inside of the pit. Now, when you fight against the Demogorgon, regardless of whether you wound it or not, every single successful hit that lands against the creature pushes the creature backwards 1 inch. If you hit it with a flamer weapon, it pushes it back d6 inches in this case. So the idea is that even if you can't push the creature into the chemical pit to kill it, you can still push it towards the table edge. As long as you push off that table edge, the creature is basically driven off your territory and don't have to worry about it attacking you. However, at the same time though, if this creature does manage to cage one of your characters and kills it in combat, your character dies automatically, which means that if the creature gets a hold of your guy, it's dead for the rest of the campaign. So this is very much a winners take all type of scenario. So because of that, it's been very, very difficult. In fact, one of the gangs on 11 lost 2 Jews to this thing, and the Pelago Slant Kings sacrificed 1 of their Jews in order to drive this creature off at the same time. So that's something you have to look out for in this campaign. Now then, if you only successfully drive off the creature and don't kill it, what happens is the creature's bounty increases by d6 times 10 creds, and every single person that the monster also kills also has a bounty of d6 times 10 creds for each kill as well. So this monster's bounty increases exponentially as time goes on. Originally, this monster's bounty was originally at 100 creds, now it's up to 300 credits. So if the Killjoys manage to kill it this time, they'll get 300 credits added to their income. If they don't kill it, its bounty will increase by another d6, plus any d6s revolve if anything that was killed as well, and the bounty just increases at this part as well. So you have to look out for that part too. So either you drive it off and get nothing for your troubles, or you kill it and earn the bounty at the same time. One final thing to learn about the monster. The monster has a very specific rule set when it involves creating the creature. Basically, you roll a d6 at the beginning of each one of its turns. On a roll of 1 through 3, the creature could be controlled as usual, so you, the player, get to decide where the monster kind of goes and where it doesn't go, and just kind of acts accordingly. If its feeding frenzy roll goes up on a 4 up, what happens is the creature must direct all of its attack and head straight towards the nearest target that is towards it as well. So the monster's movement is kind of randomized depending on what the situation is when you roll your d6. Also, the monster could also regenerate wounds as well every single time in their recovery phase, both its own turn's recovery phase as well as the opponent's recovery phase. It rolls a d6 for each one of its wounds that is suffered. On a 4 up, it heals the wounds and its stats increases back up to the original 6. So that's pretty much the rules as well as the battleground that you see here for the combat zone. Let's talk about the individual deployment areas, and then we'll get on with this battle report. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the deployment for the Killjoys in this case. As you can see in this photo, these 3 Killjoys, which is the Yoko the Pyro, who's the heavier than the left-hand side, as well as Raven, who's the bulk carrying Gengar there on the right-hand side. And you got Mimi the Punk, who's right there on the bottom. Those 3 are actually off the table edge, and the reason why is because my friend Lady Dawn was using the tunnel special rules for these 3. So after turn number 2, at the beginning of turn number 2, these guys can pop up anywhere on the ground level of the battlefield. So these are the Gangers who are basically being used for that special deployment rules. Make up the center deployment there, start from the left and work our way right. We have Simply Sora right there taking the left-hand side, followed by Nocturna. Right there on the right-hand side of her, we have Lucky Lucy, and then right next to her, on the very far end on the right, that is One Shot Blonde. And those ladies are all armed with blast guns as well as a hunting rifle. Pretty much what Lady Dawn plans on doing is having these gangers run through the center portion of the battlefield, get to elevated positions, and start flanking the monster, so that way they can drive the Demogorgon into the chemical pit from the left-hand side. Directly in the center of Lady Dawn's deployment zone, you have Redcap Killer. She's using this poor guy as bait. After all, he is a scummer, so if he does get killed, no biggie for her, because then she's just up down 15 creds. She doesn't really lose any members of her gang. But at the same time, this guy is pretty deadly, so he can't hold his own. But that's the risk that Lady Dawn was willing to take for this scenario. And on the far right-hand flank, she's got her leader, which is Furia, as well as her heavy Mad Donna, who's armed with a grenade launcher as well. And so their plan here for this one, Lady Donna said, is to have these guys climb up to the main causeway, move to the roof of the MTA terminal. That way they can engage this creature from the right-hand side and then try to drive into the chemical pit as well. So the idea here overall is to have Redcap Killer be the bait, draw the Demogorgon towards the chemical pit, and then use one of these other 3 gangs, 3 fire teams, to drive the monster into the chemical pit and kill it once and for all. And of course, here's the Demogorgon. We roll off on a d6 to see what table edge it will randomly spawn on, in this case, and land on the near side board, and that is why Lady Dawn's Killjoys are deployed directly across from it. And as always, this creature will also get the very first turn as well, because that is scenario rules for It Came From the Sump. So the deployment rules over, we go directly to the top of turn number 1 for the Demogorgon. Alright, this is the top of turn number 1 after movement phase for the Demogorgon. As you can see in this photo, nothing much really happens. All that really takes place is the Demogorgon moves up 6 inches forward under the gantry ray towards the chemical pit, and that's pretty much about it. Pretty uneventful turn number 1. However, for turn number 2, as you can see here, the Killjoys just absolutely move as quickly as they possibly can into the various gantryways. Basically, they just kind of sprint up the walls, start having their guys taking cover positions along the elevated areas as well. At the same time, Lady Dawn also moves as the Redcap Killer 8 inches and has him run forward directly towards the chemical pit to act as the bait to kind of draw out the Demogorgon. As you can see on the right-hand side, all 4 of her gang members, Silky Sara, Lucky Lucy, One Shot Blonde, as well as Nocturna, are taking up cover positions there along the gantryway as well as that tower there. And also on the left-hand side there, you can see both Furia as well as Mad Donna taking up positions along the causeway towards the MTA terminal. And so basically she's getting her gang kind of wrapped around in kind of like this semi-horseshoe shape in order to drive the Demogorgon towards the chemical pit. Here's a close-up of Redcap Killer, the scummer being used as bait to draw the Demogorgon towards the chemical pit. Here's another close-up that shows both Furia as well as Mad Donna sprinting up to the top of the causeway, so that way they can make their way to the roof of the MTA terminal. And finally, here's a close-up of Nocturna as well as Lucky Lucy along the walkway there, heading towards that second-story triangular-shaped building as well. On the very top left-hand side, you have both One Shot Blonde as well as Silky Sorrow taking up cover positions on that tower. So with movement phase over, since everybody ran, there's no shooting and there's no close combat or recovery, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Demogorgon. Alright, so directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Demogorgon. I roll on the Feeding Frenzy table. Unfortunately, I rolled a force because the Demogorgon goes 6 inches as quickly as possible towards the nearest piece of food and get his hands on. In which case, this is Redcap Killer. As you can see, they're kind of skirting around the left-hand side of the chemical pit and starts making its way towards Redcap Killer in order to get to him. And since Redcap Killer is out of range of his tentacle attacks, there's no close combat or recovery phase, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Killjoys. Alright, so this is the top of turn number 2 for the Killjoys. As you can see in this photo, pretty much the game just continues on with their original plan, moving up to various positions around the chemical pit in order to drive the creature towards the chemical pit, whatever direction it may go into. On the roof of the MTA building, we have both Furia as well as Mad Donna taking up cover positions on the top of the MTA terminal. On the right-hand side, we got Silky Sorrow as well as One Shot Blonde taking up their positions on that third floor hexagonal building right there on the right-hand side. And we also have Nocturna as well as Lucky Lucy taking up positions right there to lay down some covering fire with their last rifles. Also, if you notice, we also got Redcap Killer. He moves up 8 inches towards the towards the Demogorgon as well, acting as bait, so that way the Demogorgon heads towards it. And if you see there on the left-hand side, popping right behind that shipping crate, we have both those 3 gangers who basically are put along the tunnel, using the tunnels special rules. So when the tunnel special rules basically says that this start of round 2, whoever you decide to put into the tunnels pops up around 2 anywhere on the ground floor. As you can see there, we have both Raven as well as Mimi the Punk as well as Yoko the Pyro's Arm the Flamer, which is also pretty good because if the creature gets hit with a Flamer, it goes back d6 inches, and from the location it's located at, it looks like they could drive that creature directly into the chemical pit if they shoot it from that angle. Alright, so starting on the left-hand side, we got Mimi the Punk, followed by Yoko the Pyro there in the center, as well as Raven. They're taking cover positions behind the shipping container, so that way they can pop up and then shoot the Demogorgon directly into the chemical pit. Here's a close-up of both Nocturna as well as Lucky Lucy taking their positions there along the top of the building, getting ready to lay down some supporting fire with their last rifles. Here's a close-up of One Shot Blonde as well as Silky Sorrow getting their cover positions too, so that they can start laying some long-range fire to help out their sisters in battle. Here's a close-up of Redcap Killer running as quickly as he possibly can to kind of lure the meat monster towards him because he's acting as bait for the Demogorgon. And finally, here's a close-up of both Furia as well as Raven, trying to make their way towards the roof of the MTA terminal there. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Demogorgon for this battle report. Alright, the top of turn number 3 for the Demogorgon. Unfortunately for Lady Domina, I rolled a 6 for the Feeding Frenzy table. So because of that, the creature decides to go 180 and decides to charge directly as quickly as it possibly can towards these 3 gangers that just kind of popped up here on the other side of the shipping container because they're so close to it. So the monster moves up its full 6 inches to the location it's looking at now. And if Lady Domina doesn't do something really quick with these 3 gangers, there's no way these guys are going to be able to survive against the Demogorgon. They basically have to act very, very quickly. Those 3 gang members are going to get eaten alive by this thing. Luckily for her, however, she is out of sight of the tentacle attacks. The monster cannot attack with its tentacles, and since there's no close combat or any reason for recovery, we skip this turn and go directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Killjoys. Alright, so the top of turn number 3 for the Killjoys, as you can see here, the characters basically just jump up on the other side of that chemical, on the other side of that shipping container, as you can see there. Both Yoko the Pyro, Raven, as well as Mimi the Punk decide to go to the top of that thing and stare down the Demogorgon's face on and try to kill it and try to drive it off with their firepower. As you can see there on the top, both Furia as well as Mad Donna take their positions up on the roof of the MTA terminal, and the rest of the gang kind of stays where they're located there on the right-hand side. At the same time, Redcap Killer also moves forward another 8 inches to lend some support for these 3 gang members against the Demogorgon. So that pretty much makes the move phase for this one. Here's a close-up of the Demogorgon facing down Mimi the Punk, Yoko the Pyro, as well as Raven. So that way these 3 gang members have to basically figure out something quick, because otherwise these 3 Killjoys are going to be eaten alive by the Demogorgon if they don't drive it off next turn. And here's a close-up of Redcap Killer making his way as quickly as he possibly can towards the Demogorgon to lay some support for those 3 Killjoys under attack. And finally, here's another close-up of both Furia as well as Mad Donna taking their position along the MTA terminal roofs. That way they can land some support as well. And the rest of the gang members, Silky Sorrow, Nocturna, Lucky Lucy, as well as One Shot Blonde, they're still located where their original positions are. Just get ready to lay down some suppressive fire, some covering fire if they need to. So with moving out of the way, we go directly to the shooting phase. And in the shooting phase, the combined fire of Yoko the Pyro, Mimi the Punk, as well as Raven was enough to drive this creature back something like 8 inches, I think is what ended up happening. So you can see here, the Demogorgon gets pushed away from the bounds of the shipping container and it's at the very edge of the chemical pit. Unfortunately for them, though, they can't have any more shots, so because of that, the creature's still there. Same thing with Redcap Killer. He ran his last turn, so he can't shoot at all. So the only person who can open up on this thing is both Furia as well as Mad Donna, who's the who's the heavy arm with the grenade launcher. Unfortunately for Lady Domina, her leader Furia missed her shot with her Bulkin, so the creature's still standing. However, in the end, Mad Donna opens up with her grenade launcher. She missed with her original shot. Her ballistic skill was totally off. So because of that, we had to take a bounce on the bounce tower, to take a roll on the scatter dice to see exactly where that frag grenade goes to because she's using a grenade launcher. But luckily for Lady Domina, when she rolled on the scatter dice, she rolled a direct hit. So because of that, this template landed directly on top of the Demogorgon as well. Now, even though the frag grenade did not wound the Demogorgon whatsoever, rules stipulate that if it gets hit, and in this case it was inside of his blast marker, it goes back another inch. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, the Demogorgon gets driven into the chemical pit. It is murder, death, killed by the Killjoys. And as they're sitting there watching this thing get dissolved by the chemical pit and being destroyed, the Killjoys laugh their way to the bank because now they get to collect the full 300 credit bounty on this monster's head. And that brings us to the end of the scenario, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, the Demogorgon is now dead. Not only did this thing terrorize 3 other gangs from the Underhive before it took the ladies of the Killjoys to finally put this monster down to the ground where it came from. So, with the Demogorgon dead, that officially brings us to the end of our little mini campaign. It Came From the Sump. We go back to the regular campaign after this now because the monster has been killed. And with that being said, we go directly to the post game because this battle is now officially over. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that takes us directly to the post-game for this battle report for Tales of the Underhive number 18. This is the very fourth scenario for a Came From the Sump mini-campaign where the monster's been rampaged to the Underhive, and it looks like the monster, the Demogorgon, finally found its match against the lovely ladies of the Killjoys. So let's go and talk about the advances real quick and talk about exactly what happened to this gang. So first of all, when it comes to advancements, Furia gained up her experience points up to 94 points. Mad Donna is now packing 103 points. She gets the bonuses now for only wounding the creature, but also driving into the pit and getting it killed. She gets an advance with +1 to her ballistic skill as well. Yoko the Pyro advances 96 experience points. One shot blonde, she's now carrying 49 experience points and also learns the dodge skill. Lucky Lucy rolls up to the 45 experience points and learns the hip shooting skill. Silky Sargo increases her experience points up to 38, while Raven goes up to 45 and learns the sprint skill. So Nocturna also goes up to 42 experience points. She gets +1 to ballistic skill, and Mimi the Punk goes up to 21 experience points and she learns the deflect skill as well. The gang earned 115 credits profit from the territories that they work, and they also, when you combine the bounty from killing the thing from the sump. So with the 115 credits plus the credits they had left over from the previous battle reports, they bought an isotropic fuel rod for 59 credits and they used it to create a brand new settlement territory. So now every single time they go to the settlement, they can get up to 30 credits every single time they go. And also they roll a d6 and get a 6 up. They get another Jew for this gang, so that's pretty exciting. So, which is pretty good because the Killjoys actually lost the territory in their previous battle reports, so now they have back to the usual 5. They also spent 50 credits buying melta bombs, which in the case they've equipped the melta bombs to Raven because she's got the sprint skill, which would be really helpful in case they got to blow something up for like a raid type scenario as well. And for the remaining 15 credits, they rehired Redcap Killer for 15, so now that covers back to their record, back in their gang. Their new gang rating now is at 1,729 points, and their current record is at 2 wins and 1 loss. So that will do it for this one, ladies and gentlemen. It Came From the Sump was a very fun campaign that we ran through 4 different gangs for this scenario. It was kind of like a little mini campaign within our overall larger Necromunda campaign. It was a blast. It kind of threw us back to the past, made us nostalgic for that show, Stranger Things, which is why we're playing the music for that show on all of our battle reports, just to make it good as well. So that'll pretty much round up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. This one puts the battle report number 18 for Tales of the Underhive into the books. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Your guys' input is always available. As always, once again, feel free to check out our Instagram page as well as our Google Plus page just to stay up to date to all the latest greatest hobby news we're up to. And as always, you guys, we will see you guys on the next one. You guys, peace out.